impacts, fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Q here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Deku, and well, quite a bit of things have happened. Deku, he has taken down Redestro and killed him, the former leader of the Meta Liberation Army. Now, Deku, he made it look like Overhaul was responsible, leaving behind one of the supposed Quark destroyers, and then going on to tell his people he will be stepping up as the leader, since he's the only one as knowledgeable on the subjects of war as Redestro was. Now, Deku, he is currently going to fight against Overhaul. If him and his people can use this to their advantage, then they can take down Overhaul and get control of Eri. They can take this young girl who's been, well, God knows what they've put her through, and save her. That's Deku's intentions here. And the problem with that is Overhaul's destructive power. Now, Deku, he actually did get somewhat of a plan formulated, as there's one person here to help him. Now, we do actually have over with Overhaul and his forces, where it's been announced by multiple people within the Meta Liberation Army that the payment is going to be going through. And you do actually have our Overhaul. He does have a few trucks pull up to his new facility. As whenever the trucks do get unloaded, and people do start to walk into the area with briefcases, Overhaul, he does watch that, as he does assume that this is the first wave of money that's going to be sent in. Now, he does find it to be quite strange. They were going to do wire transfers. However, having money like that digitally right now, here in Japan, isn't really possible, since certain big banks have been taken over and some have been destroyed, and even some within the chaos have been looted and burned. Now, as people are walking all throughout the facility, you do actually have, well, Mineta, who he did come back for this. He's currently posing as a person who's walking between the trucks, and he is actually waiting. He's been told that he is going to be very, very much needed here. And, well, their entire idea here is to draw Overhaul out into the open, where someone's going to take a swing at him. Now, we do actually have where Denki and Jiro are also here. And whenever Overhaul he is walking through the area, somebody they are actually following him. As you do have Deku's feather, which is currently flying overhead of Overhaul. It's trying to track him and find out exactly where Eri could be. And there's actually currently Deku who's standing outside the facility, across the street, and on top of a building, as he does overlook the entire area, with Todoroki to his right. Now, Deku, he actually is standing with the guy who has the ability to influence people, the doll maker, and the guy with the ice quirk. I do not remember his name. Now, as all these men are staying there, Deku, he does inform two of them to get to work. Now, you do also have, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say she died. The news reporter lady. She's still dead. Now, we actually do have, whenever Deku, he does actually order the doll maker to do what he needs to. As some of the dolls he's created, they actually do start to get to work. Some breaking off and posing as heroes going to loot the base. As they do immediately break in hero costumes and start to try and raid and attack Overhauls and his men. Now, the Shiosaikai, they do have some people they're trying to fend off these attackers with. And as that actually does happen, you do actually currently have Mineta, who, while he's walking through the facility, he does actually go to drop his shape. Him actually going to turn to slime as he does go to turn directly into Deku. Now, he does actually go to try and make Deku's wings. However, he can't make them very detailed. And they do just look like a rough shape and somewhat color, as Mineta does go flying through the facility forwards. Now, this is where things do start to get a bit more tricky. As the villains were attacking and these people were trying to bring in money, there is actually more overhaul. He did try to get his forces under control. Some trying to secure the money, some trying to take down the pros, and find out exactly who is attacking them. As Deku, he does at least order the man with the ice quirk to head down there, along with even the man who has the other quirk ability to influence or empower people through his voice. Now, as those two do go down there, there actually is the doll maker, who he does turn to look at Deku, and Deku does notice the man looking at him. Now, as people are starting to try and overwhelm the facility, the man he does actually ask Deku if he did it for a good reason. And Deku does go to look towards the man. I'm sorry? You killed him. I know you did. Yep. What about it? People would be very angry to know the truth. Yeah, I bet they would. Yes, they would. Especially a top member. As I recall, actually, I've been a top member since the moment I joined. He liked to use my name to get people on his side. He thought my parents supported the Meta Liberation Army. He made people think that. However, it wasn't that. It wasn't at all the truth. It was me who did it. And then there was me going to prison. The entirety of the war. Do you really expect people to understand that? No, I don't. However, Redestro himself. Before he died, what did he tell you? The war would still rage on. By the time it would have ended, it would have already hit the 5-year mark. A little bit over that, actually. And I don't want that. I'm trying to stop this by any means necessary. Besides, your boss waited for over 3 years before trying to make a move. And even then, his plans, they start small. Nowhere near what somebody with our amount of troops could do, with our amount of people. He wants to hit one warehouse. However, he's been making me hit multiple. His show of power are nothing compared to mine. I want to do what's best for the Meta Liberation Army, not for Redestro. Do we at least have that clear? Now, the dollmaker, he does go from looking at Deku to looking down, as he has at least informed him that some of his dolls are being taken out too fast. So they need to, well, remake them. Now, Deku, he does understand that, as he does use a feather and get that guy to fly down there. As we will actually cut back over to Overhaul. As he's running and moving throughout the base, he is kind of concerned about everything. as he does currently at least have Eri. Him grabbing her and picking her up, as he does immediately start to run through the area. Now, overall, he's just trying to think. He can get her put into at least proper chains or something to hold her whenever they get out of here. After that, then they can find out exactly what to do. If pros are trying another assault on them, they need to hurry. They get faster and faster every time. Now, overall, he's trying to think. Could it be because of Takami, the heroes on the inside of the association? Is this a possible double cross? Now, he's just trying to wonder about everything. As there is actually whenever Hawks, or not Hawks, there is whenever Deku, he does come flying down. Now, as Deku he does go to fly directly over Overhaul, Mineta, or at least the Mineta disguised as Deku to see him. Him actually going to spin and land on the ground, as he is going to reach out and try to tell Overhaul that they need to get out of here. Now, Overhaul he does just stare at Mineta, as he's very skeptical. And there is actually when Mineta he does start to walk forwards trying to tell Overhaul. Now, Mineta he does try to stay very, very careful with this. Okay, he has the Quark Destroyer directly in the tip of one of his fingers. If he's able to get in close, he can just smash his finger directly in and morph his body. That way, only the tip of the Quark Destroyer actually does go into this guy's arm. Hell, he has to be pretty careful. He's practically dancing with fire the way it is inside of his hand. One wrong move and he could become Quarkless. And the way his body's been modified, what would even happen to him if he tried to return to normal? Now, Mineta he does think that. As Overhaul, he does actually go to look around. Most of his guys aren't here. And this is actually very concerning to him. Now, there actually is one of Overhaul, he does go to bring up his hand, trying to reach out and go to attack Deku. If this is a possible double cross, this guy shouldn't be this calm. He has a Quark Destroyer somewhere. He knows it. Now, this is where Overhaul, whenever he does go to lunge and reach out for Deku's face immediately does go to split into two pieces. As Mineta he does split himself in two, and Overhaul he does go lunging forwards and directly past where he was standing. Before, as Mineta did move across, he did go to slam the Quark Destroyer into the side of this guy's back. And Overhaul, he didn't even really register it. More or less just stunned by the fact that Deku split in two. Now, as that actually does happen, there is whenever Deku, or Mineta, he does actually watch Overhaul go to turn back. Directly reach out from as Mineta, he does just stand still. Him smashing his hand onto the copy. As he does smirk. Now, as that actually does happen, Overhaul, he does just stare at Mineta. Before his smirk does fade quickly. And then there actually is Mineta. One of the copies, they do actually go walking with Eri, picking her up and going to move, as she doesn't really seem to have very much emotion in her eyes. Now, there is actually whenever Eri, she does go to look up. She's being carried by a man, and there is where she does see another man staying there with Overhaul. As one of his arms, they do go to change into something sharp. And then Overhaul, he is actually picked up by Mineta as soon as he does go to actually pull back his fist and punch right through Overhaul's gut. Now, Eri, she just watched that, and her eyes, they actually somewhat change, as she was able to see it. Now, we actually do have where all the chaos does quickly start to die down, with Overhaul dead and taken care of using a Quark Destroyer. They would quickly be able to at least take down Rappa and overwhelm them. Before, eventually Eri, she is brought to Deku. And Deku, he does see her. as she does just stare at the same guy, kind of confused for a second. This is the guy she saw standing there with Overhaul. And now he's just, well, in front of her now? Her actually going to, well, jump away from Mineta and look directly at him, before she has turned and looked to Deku. Before Deku just walk forwards and go to bend down right in front of her, as he does inform her that she's going to be okay now, and that they're here to help her. Now, Eri, she does just stare directly at Deku. As Deku, he does going to bring up his hand and hold it out to Eri, watching as she actually is shaking. Now, Deku, whenever he does reach out, he does tell Eri that they can take her somewhere safe, asking if she would like that. And Eri, she just looked down at Deku's hand. Deku can tell that she's almost fixated on it. And then there's her arms and her legs. And there's even actually bandages peeking out of the top of where her neck is. Whatever Overhaul did to her, it's, well, gotta be bad. To have bandages covering her like that, all over her body, that sick, twisted fuck. Now, that's currently what's running through Deku's head. As Eri, she does just stand there. And Deku, he actually is going to bring down his hand, as he has to tell Eri that they can all go now. Now, Eri shows much as Deku, he does actually start to float up into the air. And there actually is whenever she does find herself floating as well. As Deku, he does tell her that they're going to head back to their home, as they all do go flying away. Now, the incident here is actually quickly swept under the rug, as by the time heroes were alerted to it, practically everything was already said and done. However, all they really found left behind was a few dead villains. And there was something even more curious. The villain known as Overhaul, he was found disemboweled underground. And from the looks of it, this must have been the enforcer, or at least one of Overhaul's enforcers who did this. Now, we do actually have the entire fly, or at least way there. Deku, he's holding on to Todoroki as they're flying. However, for Eri, Deku, he does have a few feathers holding her up. And she actually does seem to be a bit more curious about the night sky, as they're all flying. Now, Deku, he does actually look back to Eri, and see that expression on her face. It's not curiosity, but it's close. Now, there is whenever they all do go to land, and people they do go to leave. Everyone, they're very tired. And the fact was that was close. Many of the men here, or back there, if they had a little bit more time to react, they would have probably won. The fact was, the quirks they used there to fight, they had to be quick about it. Now, you do actually have where Deku and Todoroki, they do actually lead Eri to a room where they do try to inform her about what this place is, and exactly that she'll be okay and safe here. Now, Eri, she does actually go to look around this room, as there is a bed there. And well, there's something that she hasn't seen before, as she does walk over to the window and look outside. Now, Eri, she is going to turn back around. And there actually is one of her Deku, he does go to look at this young girl. There's so much there. And then it's just, well, you know, how are you supposed to deal with that? Now, Deku does watch Todoroki go to walk out of the room. And Deku, he doesn't really blame her. The fact is, this girl's had it rough, and he doesn't like that. He wishes that there was a way he could change that, some way to relate to her. He was technically in a glass room for 3 years. However, what she went through, she was in the darkness. Now, you do actually have where Deku, he does try to talk to Eri. And after someone did bring food by and Deku did set it down for her to eat, she did just look at it kinda confused. However, there actually was whenever Todoroki she did return with her mother, Rei Todoroki. And Rei, upon seeing Eri, yeah, she knew that she had to help. Her actually going to walk over to this table and sit down about, let's say, 2 seats away from her. So the one directly to her right is empty, but the one behind that seat has somebody sitting down inside of it. As Rei does try to talk to Eri. Now, Deku can tell by the way Rei is talking, she's speaking from personal experience with her abuser Endeavor. Now, there actually is where Todoroki, she does gonna pull Deku out of the room. And Deku, he actually does follow with her. As she does at least try to tell him about how those two need to stay together for a minute. Okay, where did you get this idea from? Well, I mean, it just made sense. Granted, my mother, she never really got to raise me. So I think this would work as a substitute. A substitute? Yeah, you know? My mom, she wasn't there for me. However, Eri needs help. My mom knows a bunch of stuff from being in the hospital. She knows what doctors talk about. She knows certain things to say. Besides, my mom's been doing really good. So if you don't like it, we'll talk. But just give it a shot. That girl needs it. Okay, Todoroki. I wasn't mad. I was just caught by surprise. Okay? Besides, what else am I really supposed to say and do? I mean, it's, well, bad. My sisters can probably try to help with Eri. However, I don't want them to try and stress her out. I need you to talk to them, okay? Why me? Todoroki, I have to lead us. I know it's not that good, but listen, it's something I just need you to do, okay? I understand that, but you can't do that alone. You need help. Okay, then I'll get help. I can rely on Denki. He knows more about this stuff than I do. Than Jiro and even Momo and Ida. Even you, okay? However, for right now, I think you should talk to my sisters. I have to sort out this whole situation with the Quark Destroyers and find out exactly what's going on here. Now, this is actually where Deku, he does go to leave. And Todoroki, she does try to help. The fact is, her mother and Eri, they do need to somewhat just latch onto one another. They've both been through traumatic events. However, the fact is, their situations do vary. Eri's been through the ringer, but so has Rei. And the fact is, Eri has no mother to cling to. And Rei, she never really had the chance with Todoroki. She wasn't there to raise her daughter. And now she has a chance to help another young girl. But it's just different. This girl's a bit older, and she's already known horrors that are far beyond regular people's understanding. So there's a lot of work to do here. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.